Okay, so let's have a look at the Junior Certificate Higher Level Maths Paper 2 for 2019, question 2. So the following question was asked as part of a survey. How do you actually travel to work? Do you circle one of the following? Do you walk or cycle? Do you bus or train? You go by car or some other method? Put a tick in the correct box to show what type of data this question would give. So tick one box only. Well, the data is not numerical, so it couldn't be the first two, so it's categorical. And is it nominal or ordinal then? Well, they're not in order. You can't put these in order, so it's actually categorical, nominal. Now, the table below gives information about the ways men and women in Ireland travel to work in 2006 and 2016. So this is men and women in 2006, men and women in 2016, and the numbers are given as percentages. So these numbers at the end should add up to 100. So there should be 100% here as well. So these numbers should add up to 100. Complete the table by filling in the the first thing we're asked here is write down the modal way of travelling, the mode for both men and women in 2016. So let's have a look at that. In 2016, which is here, what is the mode for both men and women, the modal way of travelling? So the most popular way of travelling would have been by car. So the answer here, the modal way of travelling for men and women in 2016, modal way of travelling is by car. 60% and 71%. So in both cases, by car is the highest percentage. Complete the table by filling in the three missing percentages then. Okay, so let's do this one here first. So the way you would do this, you know that all these numbers have to add up to 100%. So you would take 100% minus and then add up the other ones. 12.1 plus 8.0 plus 62.6 plus 15.3. When you do that, then this is, let's see, you would add those up, then subtract from 100. So these add up to, I think, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 is 10. Yeah, these add up to 98. So you would get 2% here. So the remaining percentage here is just 2. Let's say 2.0 here. I think that should work anyway. Let me just double check that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Carry 1. 2 and 1 is 3. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 18, 9, 20. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that adds up to 100%. So that's fine. Same here. You just do exactly the same thing again. So you would take 100 minus and add up the remaining figures. So you've got 15.4 plus 11.3 plus 71.4 plus 1.2. So again, when you do that, you should get, I think, 0.7%. So we put 0.7 in here. Again, let me just double check that. So 7, 8, 9, 13, 16, 20, carry 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. So that adds up to 100 as well. So if you add these, they add up to 100%. And then finally here, all you've got to do is add up all of these, and you would assume that they should add up to 100%. You can just double check that. They do actually. 6 and 4, 10, 19, 24, 30. So put down 0, carry 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put down 0, carry 1, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it does add up to 100. So that's it for part C. Let's have a look at part D then. Evie says that in 2006, women were more likely to walk or cycle to work than men. show that EV is correct using the numbers from the table. So women were more likely to walk than men in 2006. So in 2006, walk or cycle is here. So women, 15.4% of women walked or cycled, whereas only 12.1% of men walked or cycled. So women were more likely to walk. So you could write that as, well, a number of different ways. The probability, you could even write it as probability that women walked or cycled is equal to 15.4%, or 0.154 if you like. The probability of men or a man walking, or whoops, let me just go back on that a little bit. Walking or cycling is equal to 0.121, or 12.1%. Or you can say, 15.4% is greater than 12.1%. Therefore, women are more likely to walk or cycle in 2006 than, I'm running out of room here, than men. Okay, let's have a look at E here. Alison said more women must have travelled to work by car in 2016 than in 2006, because 71.9% travelled by car in 2016, but only 71.4% did in 2006. Is Alison correct? Take one box only, give a reason for your answer. So I think he or she is not correct, and the reason here, just because the percentage is bigger, 71.9 is bigger than 71.4. That doesn't mean that more people travelled to work by car in 2016 than in 2006. She is not correct because we do not know the actually, was this a survey or was it census? Let me just see. It was just a survey, so we don't know, we do not know the number of people surveyed in 2006 and 2016. The numbers surveyed may have been different, may be different. So you're getting 71.9% of one number, and you're getting 71.4% of possibly a different number, so you don't know what that number is, so you can't say that more women must have travelled to work by car in 2016 than in 2006. Okay, let's look at F. In total in 2016, roughly 990,000 men and 880,000 women travelled to work. So you're talking about different numbers of people here travelling to work. Using the figures in the table, work out the total percentage of people who travelled to work by bus or train in 2016. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. So using the figures, work out the total percentage of people who travelled. So first thing we've got to do is just work out the percentage of men and the percentage of women who travel to work by bus or train. So again, if we look back up here, let's look at the percentages. This is in 2016. So we look at our table here, 2016, and we're looking at bus or train, I think it was, wasn't it? Bus or train, yeah. So we have two percentages here, 8.3% men and 10.5% women. So they're the two percentages we need to look at. So let's work out the number of men and the number of women who actually traveled at this stage. So let's see, we're going to get 8.3% of these are women, no sorry, these are men, 990,000 men, so it's going to be 990,000. And then we're also going to get the other percentage was 10.5%. We're going to get 10.5% of the number of women traveled, that's 880,000. So if you work this out here, you get 82170. And if you work this out here, you will get 92400. So let's add these two. So we have, this is going to be the total. This is going to be the total number of people who traveled to work by bus or train. So that's going to be equal to 82170 plus 92400. When you add those together, you get 174,570. So this is the total number of people, men and women, who travel to work in 2016 by bus or train. We have to work out the total percentage of people who traveled. So what you've got to do then is just get this as a percentage of the total number of people who actually traveled. So the total number of people who traveled would just be this figure here added to this figure here. So when you add those two, you get 1,870,000. So the percentage then, the total percentage of people who traveled by bus or train to work, that's just going to be equal to 174,570 divided by the total number, so 990,000 plus 880,000, which is 1870, and then we got to multiply this by 100. Okay, so when you do that, you get, we have to do this to three significant figures, so you will get 9.34%. That's the three significant figures. Okay, so that's part F. Let's have a look at part G1. Complete the table below, showing the angle in a pie chart for each of the ways men travel to work in 2016. Show your work, give each angle correct to the nearest degree. So we have 12.2% who walked or cycled. So you really have got to get 12.2. These all add up to 100. So you got to get 12.2%. 12.2% of 360 degrees. 360 degrees. And you've got to round that. You get 43.92. So 43.92, and that's going to be approximately equal to 44 degrees. And you've got to do that for each one here. So you got to get 8.3% of 360 degrees. So that'll give me an angle of 29.88. So that's going to be approximately equal to 30 degrees. And so on. So you do 60% or 60% of 360 degrees. So again, that's going to be 216. Do another one over here, I think. Let's see, we have, where are we, 14.2. 14.2%, you got to multiply that by 360 degrees, and that gives you 51.12 degrees, so that's 51 degrees to the nearest degree. And finally then we have 5.3% of 360 degrees, so that comes out at 19.08. So that's roughly approximated to 19 degrees to the nearest degree. So you can write those in here. What did we say? 44 degrees, 30 degrees, 216 degrees, 51 degrees, and 19 degrees. Now that's, I think, all we had to do. Show your work, so we've done that. Give the angle correct to the nearest degree, we've done that. Okay, so let's have a look. Complete the pie chart. Now I've started the pie chart here. I did it on using Excel, because otherwise I'd have to do it freehand here, which wouldn't be nice to look at. Complete the pie chart below to show the data in the table above. Label each sector and the size of each angle clearly. Now all you've really got to do is, I'll do it kind of roughly here how you started anyway. You were given a circle and you were given the center here, so you would draw a line across here, and you would take, for example, bus or train. So bus or train was 30 degrees, so you would just measure out 30 degrees here using your protractor, and you'd write 30 degrees here, and then bus or train here. So bus or train here, I'm going to write the angles in here. So we said 30 degrees here, got to put that in there. Walking or cycling was 44 degrees, so you need to put that in here, 44 degrees. Not stated was 19 degrees, so you'd need to put 19 degrees in here. Other, 51 degrees, so we're going to put 51 degrees in here, and put 51 degrees here. And then by car, the biggest one was 216 degrees, so that goes in here. Now we have a key here as well, but you would need to put in a title as well on this, so you would need to say something like what was the actual year we're talking about here. This is the ways men travel to work in 2016. The ways men travel to work in 2016. So you would need to put that title in as well. So this is the ways men traveled to work in 2016. So that would be that would be your title. So we have labeled each particular segment. We have the number of degrees in there, and we have the methods of transport as well. And that's really it. Complete the chart below to show the data in the table above. Label each sector and the size of each angle clearly. Now you could also put in the percentages here. So you know, you could put in, for example, bus or train here would be bus or train was 8.3%, so you could put that in here, 8.3%, and so on. Walking or cycling was 12.2%, so you could put that in here, 12.2%, and so on. I won't do the rest, but that's something else you could put in there as a label. Okay, so let's have a look at the last part here. We have the diagram below shows the main ways that primary school students travel to school from 1986 to 2016. So we have main ways primary school students travel to school 1986 to 2016. So we have car, walk or cycle, and bus. So the car is this one here, that's obviously increased. Walking or cycling decreased, and then bus or train slightly increased, and then a slight decrease as well. And these are the percentages here. What we have to do here, in fact, is just write a little paragraph. I don't have the question actually written down there, but what it requires us to do is just write a little paragraph describing the information the diagram gives about the ways that primary school students travel to school over the period 1986 to 2016. In your answer, you should use information in each of the 3 lines in the diagram. So we've got to write a paragraph to describe the information in the diagram. So let's start that anyway. Now you could write a lot on this, but I'm going to start up here. I'm kind of running out of room at the end here, so let's start up here. So you could say something like in 1986, which is here, 50% of students traveled to school by walking or cycling. This decreased. Oops. This decreased steadily. Well, we can just say it just decreased up to 2016. To roughly, I'm looking here, say 25 to 25% approximately. Students in 1986, well, we could say 20, let's say 24%. Let me just start that again there. 20 approximately 24% of students in 1986 traveled by car. This increased sharply to 2002, then slowly increased to 2016. Now, what about bus or train then? Approximately 19% of students traveled by bus or train. In 1986. Oops. Which increased slightly to 1986, then decreased to approximately 10% in 2016. Now, we've written quite a lot there. We've just described each line really, but how can we kind of relate each one? We can say that as the method of transport by car increased, the method of walking and cycling decreased. Something like that. As the method of transport by car increased, walking and cycling decreased. Let's see, anything else we can say? You could mention 1996 as well. It seems to be a point here where cars and walking and cycling were the same. Walking and cycling was on the decrease, cars, the method of transport by car, was on the increase. You could say that in 1996 the same percentage of students were traveling by car and walking and cycling. And you could also say this is also the point where the method of traveling by bus or train started to decrease. We've written quite a bit there, and we probably weren't required to write that much, but just to read the question again, it says write a paragraph to describe the information the diagram gives about the ways that primary school students traveled to school over a period 1986 to 2016. In your answer you should use the information in each of the three lines in the diagram. I mean, we could probably write a little bit more on that, just saying why people as students, maybe, you know, in 1986 fewer people had cars, and then as time went on cars became cheaper and so on, and more people had cars, so more and more people would travel by car rather than walking or cycling. Okay, so look, that's it for this particular question.